morning, guys. Thanks for tuning in to Guggen to Pro Offshore Angler. I'm your host, Jason Reese, the G2P Angler. Interesting morning this morning. So it is now early November, and it is Veterans Day weekend. It's Saturday. We're going out for the Big Dog Tackle Race for the Cure charity fishing tournament. It is a meat tournament, and I am by myself because I was supposed to do this tournament with my family, but it's been persistent wind for the last couple of weeks, and it is 4-foot seas on a 4-foot interval forecast today. So they are staying in, and I am going to just troll. It's a meat fish tournament where we get biggest fish wins. So really, like, all you got to do is find one good fish. If you've seen me fish this tournament in years past, in my last videos, we kite fished it, and we caught more sailfish than anything else. It's the fall sailfish bite is kind of turning on right now. It hasn't gotten too cool yet, but I bet people will catch a bunch of sailfish today anyways, just because of how rough it's been and how people have not been out fishing a whole lot since this wind picked up a couple of weeks ago. So my goal is to go this morning out of Hillsborough Inlet here and try to find an early morning wahoo or king. And lines can't go in until 7. So I'm gonna go out to around like 150 and troll from probably like 150 to 180 at first light. I only have an hour of outgoing tide from 7 to 8, and I think that's my best window. So my goal is to try to catch a couple of meat fish being by myself. I can only catch 2 wahoo or 2 kingfish anyways, so my goal is to catch 3 good fish and get back to the weigh-in. And if I can't do it, I'll just keep fishing until conditions kind of push me back in, which might be early afternoon or it could be later in the evening. We'll see. The wind's blowing about 12 knots right now. It's forecast to go up to like 15, so it's going to be bumpy. The GoPro will help look a little more stable while we're out there, but it's going to be a little bit of a rough day. So I've been preparing myself like 48 hours, you know, no drinks, try to get enough sleep, and try to get my body eating healthy and working out at a mild pace, just try to get like in condition to beat myself up today and see what I can do. So you'll see I'm wearing a PFD, the auto inflates. I've got a personal locator beacon down here attached to me. Bluetooth engine kill on my wrist. If you're fishing solo, you want to take precautions. And some guys wouldn't go out today, and a lot of boats dropped out. I think we're down to 38 boats for this tournament, which is still a great turnout. You guys know my favorite rum is Polar. Their tagline is never a spectator. And like I said in the videos past, you know, boats are safest at harbor, but that's not why boats are made. So looking forward to sending it here, and hopefully when this, I'll show you what's going on the spread first, and then I'll turn it on when we are out there all deployed, and hopefully right at 7 a.m. when lines go in, I find something good. I feel like that first hour is going to make or break the day here, so fingers crossed.
All right, well, I'm fueling up. I'll tell you what's going on here in the spread. On one outrigger, a pink Almirada flyer. On the long number 4 planer, a pink and white zoom witch, flash witch, and a pink and gold, that gold being new, Nita strip. On the shotgun, a boon bird and 2 pink feathers. And those feathers are staggered different lengths so they don't tangle. On the mid is going to be this heavy jet witch, flash witch, and a moonlight Nita strip that'll weight it down. On the short 4/6 planer is going to be a blue and pink zoom witch, 1.5 ounces, and a blue and white Nita strip. And on the last outrigger is going to be a pink squid and pink and white Nita strip. And a skimmer jig for my pitch bait in case any mahi come in. All right, here we go. And no matter what happens with my performance today, we're gonna have an interview with the tournament winning team at the end. So stick around and we'll all learn something together today.
All right, it is 6:30. I am out of the inlet. It is rough but doable. The intervals are like a little bit short, but it's fine. So I'm gonna head out here. This is a meat fish tournament, so the fish in play are gonna be wahoo and king are my main targets. Mahi is allowed. Is a mahi gonna win a meat tournament? Probably not, but there is the bigger kind of fall mahi coming through right now, so maybe there's a bit of a chance of getting a couple of those. If nothing else, like, who doesn't love catching mahi? Blackfin tuna are also in play. I only have one bait really for blackfin tuna, but they'll bite almost anything else in the spread that a kingfish or a wahoo would. And there's some good boulders here. Wow. And the last fish is cobia, which I can catch how many cobia I've caught on one hand, so I don't think that's really going to be a thing for me, although I have seen people turn in tournament-worthy cobia. So I'm I got the outriggers out before I came out of the inlet, so I'm not worried about standing up on the gunnels trying to get those out here in 4-foot seas. And other than that, now it's a waiting game. So I've got about 28 more minutes, and as soon as it hits 7 o'clock, I can put lines in. It is absolutely killing me not getting lines in right now. I got a beautiful sunrise out here. It's first light. This is my favorite time to fish, and I got 28 minutes where I can't fish, but I've got everything else prepared. I was at the boat for a couple of hours yesterday. I've got 3 extra yo-yos with backup like planer leaders and everything built out. If you don't want to build those, you can buy them from Gulfstream Lures. But I've got mine already all built out. I've got everything rigged and ready to go. I've got a ton of extra Nita strips. So without any real bonita strips or ballyhoo, it's easier for me as a solo angler to not worry about baits washing out. Either they get bit or they don't, but they stay out there otherwise.
1 lines in.
All right, 7 o'clock. Time we get lines in. I'm gonna head north. I'm by the inlet right now in 158 feet of water. I'm gonna turn around and head north through the inlet and then head towards Boca, bouncing up and down, trying to find some fish. All right, got the spread deployed in 4 minutes, which is pretty solid. So it's 7:05 now, and we're on the hunt. I'm gonna probably run the shooter line for a while to push boats to avoid, but I'm gonna try to figure out where we can find some fish, and then I'll dial in that range going forward. But gotta find that first fish. All right, 237 feet. I've been trying to find wrecks off of like Oakland Park because where I wanted to troll wasn't able to with so many boats. And the swim over wreck right now. I'm trying to keep trolling speed going. This is the pink Eldorado flyer off the outrigger. Just got hit. Trying to keep speed going as I'm going over the flat. Hopefully keep some more lines in play here. Be blackfin maybe. All right. A blackfin to start the day. Long. Sorry, the short planer also got triggered, but there's no fish on it. So a fish bite and 1 hookup coming through on probably a cooler tuna. I would normally circle back, but you know, 6-pound to 8-pound tuna can't even weigh in on this tournament. They're gonna be at least 10 pounds. So. Nice thing about this, the missed bite, but boom. I actually just leader out. Leader got brave. I could just leader out real fast. But the Nita strip is still good to go. All right, it is 8 o'clock. So my magic hour of the outgoing tide is over. I only have 1 blackfin tuna to show for it that I'm pretty sure is not 10 pounds and cannot even weigh in. So now we're going into slack tide, which is not a very good time to fish, but I'm out here. I went over a bunch of racks trying to find something. I couldn't find anything. I got 1 fish. Now I'm out here a little bit deeper, just trying to put something in the box that I can weigh in here. 220 feet of water, and the short planer got triggered. So I was starting to head just north of the inlet, and I'm pretty sure the full bite off. It's unfortunate. That's probably the wahoo I'm looking for. You can see this, the full bite off. So get this re-rigged before I forget for zoom winches. And I might even come back and run that same line back, because that's definitely the fish I'm looking for. All right, less than 3 minutes, rig back up. So, blue and silver Nita strip, blue flash witch, and blue and white zoom witch. Ready to go, nice and fast. Hopefully, I might circle back and run that line and see if I can pick up what got bitten off. All right, it's almost 9 o'clock. Definitely on a dry spell. I haven't had any bites probably in the last like hour or so. Really, so I said that 7 to 8 window was my best window. I got some bites there since 8 o'clock. The outgoing tide stopped, it's been dead. Still super windy, and my other Murata flyer just isn't tracking well because the wind is picking up the line and moving it. It's a really light lure. I'm gonna swap it out for a pink tuna taco. So still staying with the pink because it was getting bites, but a little bit of a weighted head will keep it down and keep that line tight. So that's the only lure swap so far. I think that new bait picked one up in like 70 feet of water here. Not even big enough to pull the outrigger. Nope, it was a Spanish mackerel. So along with that Spanish hitting the outrigger tuna taco, the long planer was also triggered. These are these new pink and gold needle strips, and you can tell, see it got bit there, and you can see back here where these bite marks are. So I can probably redeploy this on tournament day, so I'm going to put a new one on. But yeah, just like missed hookup, I'm guessing another Spanish mac. If we're tournament fishing, I would just go back and forth and run that because Spanish macker, nice little treat, delicious. You know, get a couple of them, make a great meal. But I need kings, so I need a heavy fish for this. So I'm gonna keep going north. I'm north of Boca Inlet now, and I'm still just trying to find the right depth to find a good fish today. 300 feet of water. Shotgun. Finally something on here. Decent one too. Probably a Mahi. Oh, I just saw it jump off. He just got off. Got a massive hit on the outrigger. I think it was a total bite off. 195 feet of water, just outside of Boca Inlet. I think the whole thing got bitten off. They got absolutely clobbered. Yeah, all of it's gone. Oh man. What a bummer. I wonder what that was. It's like my third bite off today. Okay, so that pink tuna taco got bitten off. Had an extra one, so immediately rigged this back up. Going back out now. I'm gonna loop back around and run that line. And that bite happened right where the blue-green line was. So I thought I saw the mid get bit. Pulled in to check it, and the needle strip's gone. So something just sucked that right off. And the other squid-based needle strip I had a short strike on it like 20 minutes ago and cut the tail off. So I replaced that one with another pink needle strip. Put another moonshine one back on here. Everything in the spread has gotten good today. I just only have 2 fish to show for it so far. I'm not sure the combination of talent or skill failures or just bad luck, but I'm hungry to catch a decent king. But man, I was able to find one with a good hookup, especially on the planer rod. So I used Seymour to find that wreck, and it had fish up on it and no bites. Pulled the spread clean through without one bite. So it just might not be biting right now, but this is a great spot. I'm on the blue-green line and open for business, so hopefully it hooked up here soon. All right, out to 175, and the long planer triggered, and it's on. I saw it splashing around back there. I don't know what it is. I cut it right on the blue-green line, so could be a king from the green water, a Mahi from the blue water. Just happen to have a fish on. I've been fishing my ass off the past couple of hours. There's scattered seaweed out here, so I'm constantly checking lines and sending them back out. I've been non-stop. By myself, it's him getting tossed around out here today, and I am using autopilot judiciously while looking ahead and trying to keep my center of gravity low. So I'm fighting these fish and I'm staying low and safe. I've told myself all day that I'm gonna go slow and be methodical. So far it's worked out. I haven't had any tangles, looking stupid, playing it safe. I'm just trying to keep a decent spread to be in the game here. A lot of seaweed here off the planer. Not a big fish. Never this fish is not giant, but at this point, I'm happy to have a fish after going for a streak there with nothing. I think I'll be a king. It's not a big one. There's a king. Big hole in his mouth. All right. Got a king finally. Not the biggest one, but just happy to have one. Definitely keeper size, but not tournament winning size. I gotta decide now whether I throw him back or not. If I'm gonna have tournament fish, I can only keep 2 and they gotta be good size. Had a misbite on the shore planer. Did a bait check, thankfully. You can see it pulled in the tail and been up here by the hook and just missed the hook. It's more bad luck, but good news is getting some bites. I'm just gonna keep on this blue-green line at about 180 feet right now and just kind of zigzagging back and forth from blue to green, blue to green, blue to green. Trying to pick up some more bites, but it's not even noon yet, so I'm doing okay on time. Just gotta find like 2 good fish. 134 feet of water. The outrigger got hit. It's been the first bite I've had in a while. Go back and forth on this blue-green line, and right now this fish is off of Deerfield while I'm heading north again. Mahi. Alright, beautiful Mahi. That is my first Mahi of the day. Still cleaning up here off Deerfield, 160 feet, and both planers triggered. I'm in the blue water, so I'm not sure what's going on. In fact, it doesn't feel like anything is on this one. The other one does not. If it's on, it's not big. They're both triggered like back to back. And this one on the missed hit. The other planer. Look at that. Right off, propulsion, Wahoo style. Man, 0 for 2 on that one. I'm probably gonna get up here, turn the boat around and run back down the same line since I caught a Mahi and got just 2 more bites back to back there. Here's your flip. The company out here on my solo day. 120 feet, back to Hillsboro. And both planers just triggered. Last time was 2 bites, 1 bitten off, 1 had teeth marks in it. This one, I'm not sure what's going on with it. No, it's not on. And kind of get the long planer feels like it was a total bite off. Like I can feel that the planer itself is gone. So might have been something toothy hit the planer instead of the bait. Yeah. Thing you never want to see, but this is why we brought backup yo-yos. So something just hit that braid, probably right at the bridle where the planer was. That silver's coming through the water and something just tagged it. Gone. That's why we have backup yo-yos. So I'm gonna pull it out, send it back out. I'll be redeployed in probably like under 3 minutes. 120 feet off of Oakland Park here, south of Hillsboro Inlet. And then getting these wrecks, which it didn't seem like they were getting hit too hard today. Darn, this one's not on. It looks like the outrigger has a small fish. This one got pulled off. I can still reuse this one. I'm doing pink and silver now because I'm out of the pink and golds. Those were killer earlier. Tiny guy. I got a few lines in. I'm right by the inlet. It's lines out at 3:04, or I'm sorry, at 3:30, and it's 3:04 now. You can see that. So instead of redeploying everything and trying to like run further away and get back, I think I'm gonna call it. I just don't have the confidence that I'm gonna find a big fish in the last like 25 minutes here. And I don't want to be further away from the inlet because I am wanted back home. So I'm gonna give you guys a recap of like what all got bit. But I'm gonna go these lines in first, so I'll see you back in the inlet.
Even though I'm sadly skipping the weigh station here, I'm excited to interview the winners of this tournament to see how they approach tournament day 1. The random stuff you see in the intercoastal in Pompano.
I sadly drove right by the weigh-in. Brought home 4 fish, Spanish Mac,
one king mac, one mahi, and one blackfin tuna. I did throw back 2 small mahi, threw back a handful of bonita. Funny thing is, I brought the shotgun in at the end to bring the lines in. There was 2 small bull bonitas on that too, so all those got released. Not a lot of catching today for, I'll say 7 o'clock lines in to, I fished till just after 2, and not a lot of catching for me. It was a bit of a slow day. I had a handful of bite-offs and a handful of short strikes that definitely hurt my hookup ratio. I don't know that I can do anything differently. I think part of it's just that's fishing, but definitely a low hookup ratio and some, like, I'd say less than stellar luck on a couple of those. But again, I think that's fishing. And I was busy just by myself and trying to navigate some pretty decent sized waves and just constantly clearing lines for seaweed that I had the hard time to drink. So my bottle is still pretty full today, and that may have been part of the reason why I was less successful. I did not get the fishing gods all the way onto my side by appeasing them with a few more beverages, but make up for it now to go back and wash every inch of this boat. The entire thing is 100% covered in salt. Everything is covered in salt. It was a little sporty out there today. So I think the lessons learned for me is I think I could fish a tournament solo. I don't actually want to. I think it's like fun to tournament fish with your friends and family. But this kind of a tournament where it is just like biggest fish wins. Like, am I gonna outfish a team of 7 or 8 guys that are like dialed in on a boat flying 3 kites and their live wells, blacked out with nice goggle eyes and like rainbow runners or blue runners? Like, no. Like those guys are gonna catch more fish. They're gonna catch bigger fish. But in a tournament that Trey put together where it's just the biggest fish, any given day. So that was my hope, that I go out there and find that big wahoo or big king, but couldn't find it. Found a bunch of kings in October, but I could not find one to save my life out there today. I found one small one, but I don't even think it's like 8 pounds. So I think the lessons learned for me is, last Trifex's tournament, we kite fished and we caught mostly sailfish, and I was like, I wonder if we'd be better off trolling. I think the answer to that is no. I think we're better off still kite fishing for this tournament next year, and just realize that there's going to be some bycatch for sailfish, and that's just part of the deal. So I am going to walk you through. I got a bunch of bites today that didn't actually result in hookups, so let me show you the bite breakdown so you guys can see what that looks like here. So now that I count them all up, I did get over 20 bites. They weren't all quality bites though. The pink Islamorada got a bite early, and then I pulled it out and replaced it with the pink tuna taco because it was heavier in the wind, and it racked up 4 bites. The Boombird and Feathers had actually a really slow day, only getting 1 bite for the day. The pink squid and pink Nita strip got 2 bites. The creamsicle jet witch and moonlight Nita strip got 2 bites also. The short planer with pink and blue zoom witch, which got bitten off, got replaced with a blue and white zoom witch, and they used blue Nita strips, blue and white, and blue and silver. Together they got 6 bites. And the winner once again on the long planer was the pink and white zoom witch, which is the small 1/4 ounce, with a flash witch and a pink and white and pink and gold Nita strips for 11 bites total. And next up is Tiki Tackle Talk, where I'm going to interview the tournament winners to see how they approached this tournament day and did better than I did.
All right, guys, welcome to Tiki Tackle Talk. This is a special episode here. I am joined by John Sterling, Jim Holman, the winners of the tournament that you guys saw today, where I failed. This is the losing side of the bar, and this is the winning side of the bar. So before anything, guys, congratulations. Way to go. Guys absolutely crushed it today. And before I get into all the tournaments, which we're all eager to hear about, a couple of fun background facts. So you're a Florida native. I've learned, right?
Born and raised.
And Jim, you've been back and forth between New Jersey and Florida?
Yes.
So fishing the canyons to fishing here locally?
Absolutely. Since I was a kid, I fished, spent a lot of time up in New Jersey in the summer times, fishing the canyons off the Jersey shore. And then as a kid, I'd spend a lot of the winters down here fishing offshore in Palm Beach and Jupiter.
What's your favorite area to fish?
Jupiter.
Okay, yeah, it is nice up there. I'm just jealous. And you guys are a little further up north, even though you guys fish down here quite a bit.
We pretty much we go where the fish are at, but we typically fish out of Jupiter.
And it's fair to say you guys are both lifelong anglers. You guys have been doing this for a lot of years.
Yep, I came out of the womb with a fishing rod.
And how long have you guys been fishing together?
When did we meet?
13 years.
Has it been 13 years?
13 years.
You sure?
Yeah, I know because of Kim and I met at the same time.
Okay, all right, so 13 years.
That's a long
It
time.
was hard to get him to go fishing with me, believe it or not. He didn't want to at first.
I was a single dad with three little kids. John was 20 years younger. Well, he is 20 years younger than me. So at the time, he didn't have any kids, and he didn't like kids.
That's not true.
So very different lifestyles. And did you guys become the Chasing Silver team early on, or how long until you guys became Chasing Silver?
Go ahead.
We started chasing silver in the end of 2020, and we fished a couple tournaments at the end of 2020, which we won. I think we fished 3 tournaments at the end of the year. We won 2 of them in a 22-foot dusky, and from there we just fished 2021 where we won the SKA Nationals, and it just kept growing from there.
That's an incredible story. So I've been learning about them a little bit this evening, and they had, where I thought I started off in a 24-foot boat where I was trying to punch above my weight. You guys were winning tournaments in like a 20-foot boat to start with.
Yep. So that's a funny story. I got a 227 Dusky, so the old 203, so it's really a 20-foot boat. And I was for months trying to get him to come fishing with me. I told him, I said, we could make this work. We could do some tournaments and win in these. And he didn't believe me. It took some persistence and convincing to have him come out with me. And finally we did it, and we were winning. We were actually doing it. You believe it or not, right, Jim?
Yep.
Before we get into how great you guys are, and we're going to get there, this is a humble channel, and I had a particularly rough tournament day. If you guys could share at least one Guggen story about each other where things did not go as great as they went for you guys on tournament day.
Oh, where do we start?
That's every time we fish. We're glorified Guggens. That's all I yell on the boat, that we're Guggens during the day.
So I'll give you 2 real quick. So we're fishing, I think it was fishing Chasing Tails a couple years ago. And it's right at the end of the day. And I got a kingfish on the side of the boat. It was a slow day. It was like our biggest kingfish we got. And it was just both of us. Usually a lot of times it's just both of us fishing. And I'm fighting the fish. And all of a sudden I look at Jim, and he's staring at the fish. And he sits there and starts asking me, do you think it's a cobia? Do you think it's a kingfish? What is that? And I looked at him and I said, does it matter? Would you gaff the damn fish?
Yeah.
And he just starts laughing. And he said, I don't know why I didn't gaff it, but I couldn't figure out what it was.
Just wanted to know what it was first.
If it's big enough and it's silver beneath the surface.
It's a 20-something pound fish. And I'm just like, man, we're going to lose the fish. Just
Ray
gaff
Charles
him.
could have seen it was a kingfish, but I couldn't decide whether it was a cobia or a kingfish.
So that one's probably a good one. Then the other one, we're fishing SKA Nationals. And I mean, it was rough. I mean, we probably shouldn't have even been out there. It was rough. First thing in the morning, I'm trying to get a bait together. And I don't know, something happened. We hit a wave or something, and we were using an owner hook. And man, you look at those things, man, you get poked. And just to happen to hit a wave, and the thing just went right in my hand. And I'm sitting there staring there. I'm trying to get the lines out. He's yelling and screaming, come on, we got a fish. Come on, we got a fish. Do something about that, would you? So I cut the wire. And I'm sitting there. I said, Jim, we're fishing. Let me figure it out here. And I'm trying to decide, do I pop it through? Do I leave it in for the day? So finally he says, oh, quit being a baby. Put your hand in the ice and just poke that through and just be done with it. So that's exactly what I did. I put my hand in the water and I poked it right through, cut the barb out, pulled it out. And I'm yelling and screaming at him. I said, man, that hurt. And he says, oh, quit being a baby. I kid you not. 4 hours later, you get one in your leg?
Yeah, caught a dolphin and flipped the dolphin in the boat myself, and it wasn't very big, and I'm trying to grab him, and he flipped up one way, and I got a treble hook in my leg.
And I'll tell you what, I was the happiest guy in the world. I kept just looking at him saying, come on, Jim, we just got to get back to fishing. Get that thing out of there. And what'd you do, Jim?
I actually cut the wire, and I just left the hook in my leg all day because I couldn't get it out. And to complicate things, at the end of the day,
It's a treble hook too, you said,
Treble
right?
hook.
My son jumps on the leaning post to sit next to me on the way in, and he steps right on the hook, and I went from having 1 barb in the leg to 2 barbs in the leg.
Oh yeah, we got a whole list of them. I mean, we're professional Googans, like you said.
Even the best anglers sometimes still have some Guggen moments, so that's humbling for us all. Let's get into the tournament because that's what everybody wants to hear about it. So I've got a few questions, but you guys tell the story as you guys see fit. My first question is did you guys pre-fish for the tournament?
No, we didn't. If memory serves me right, I think we were having some rough seas for that whole week, right, Jim?
We were. There was, I don't even think you were able to pre-fish, and the weather had just calmed down the day before the tournament. And I'll be honest,
calm down.
I'm not a big fan of pre-fishing to start with. Fish move.
Yeah.
Okay, and typically if you catch that winter pre-fishing, it's hard to find them again. So me personally, I'm not a big fan of it.
Yeah, that echoes for me because I've only done it twice, and both times I fished better on my pre-fish day than I did the tournament day.
And that's what we found, actually. A lot of times we've done that quite a bit of times. We pre-fished something and really thought we had it dialed in, but the next day it was like, holy cow, did we even do this yesterday? Because it wasn't even the same playbook. It's completely different.
Yeah, I mean, every day is different, and then also you're like a little bit more burned out too, having just been out for another full day the day before. But yeah, it makes me feel better going to sleep the night before the tournament. I'm like, all right, we're ready to go for tomorrow. Everything's ready on the boat. Everything's ready. Everything's been rock solid. We caught a lot of fish today. Tomorrow's going to be great, and then I've struggled on tournament day.
Yeah, no, that's with us too. Like you said, we just. It's best a lot of times now we don't even pre-fish. We just kind of see the patterns and see the conditions.
Okay. Hearing you guys say that, I think I'm also done pre-fishing. So just focus on the big day. On your tournament day, you guys fish together all the time, and you guys fish a smaller boat, which is awesome. I love seeing smaller boats winning tournaments against bigger boats. How many guys were on the boat for a tournament day?
Oftentimes, it's just John and I.
It's a winning combination, right?
Occasionally, when my son's available, he'll fish with us. He's a veteran as well, so it gives us oftentimes a veteran class that we can open. And his girlfriend has been our lady angler when she's available.
She's also in the Coast Guard.
She's in the Coast Guard, so her availability is very limited. But for the most part, it's John and I on tournament day.
Okay. And for this tournament, was it just the two of you?
No, we had Steele with
There's a
us.
third guy.
Yeah, we had Steele, his son, on the boat with us on this one.
So the three of you guys. And how long has Steele been fishing with you guys?
He's been on the team for 2 years.
Okay.
Yeah, when he came back from the Middle East, he started fishing with us off and on.
That's awesome. So you guys are all comfortable. You guys have been doing it for a couple of years. What do you guys go out there who's doing what? What are the kind of roles that you guys do? Or does everyone do everything?
Oh, I do everything. He sits on the helm all day. It yells and screams.
That's why he wants the tower. He just wants to be up there in that ivory tower yelling down.
Yeah.
Tournament day, I'm typically the captain, and John's the angler. John's a hell of an angler. He's younger than me. He's got a lot more drive than me. So he angles, and then when we have other people on the boat, I still stay on the helm, and I'm the gaff man as well.
Okay.
Yeah. Usually I'm always the one grabbing the rods and setting the rods up. So we got a pretty good rhythm going with the two of us. It took some getting used to, but I think we actually got a good rhythm going.
It is, and as a two-man team, I mean, the both of us have to be able to do everything at any given time. So as soon as there's a fish on, I'm clearing the other lines, and then so I can get back to the helm to chase that fish down. Oftentimes, if we don't have time to get all the lines in, you leave them out, you pray for the best, and you'll clean the mess up after you get the fish in. The most important thing is to get that fish in the boat.
Yeah. Are you guys kite fishing? When you say you're leaving the lines out, okay.
Yeah. Sometimes it depends. It's all in the conditions. It really is. When it's right for slow trolling, then we're slow trolling. If it's right for kite fishing, we're kite fishing. Sometimes you're doing both.
Yeah. Yeah. Do you guys put one or two kites up off of the boat?
We just have one. Two's a little tricky, especially with just two of us. So we typically just put one out. Sometimes less is more. Sometimes less is more for sure.
And again, we're a smaller boat. Two kites could get messy for us.
Yeah.
Being two anglers, and we fish 3 lines off of the one kite, and plus when it's just the two of us, we'll have 2 flat lines out as well. So that's 5 lines for 2 guys.
Yeah.
And we've been in a mess where we've had multiple rods go off at once. If
It's a wonderful mess, but a mess
Double
nevertheless.
header we can do. Once that third line goes, we got problems.
Yeah. Yeah, you're talking to somebody who's tried to fly 2 kites, and I've dunked one and sent the other back, so I've made mistakes doing 2 kites, and I don't have the skill for it.
Oh, don't worry, we've done it too.
Yeah.
Many times.
Yeah, I remember I was walking back to the tackle shop just head in shame. I'm like, I need another kite. Dunked it, got cut off. I don't even know how. It must have caught a prop at some point, but lost it. And the tackle shop owner is, do you know how many kites we sell to the same guy over and over again?
Yep.
Like, don't worry about it. That's kite fishing. So I'm sure he was not unhappy to make the sale, but also it's like a relief to hear other people occasionally dunking kites. How do you guys approach a tournament day different than you do like a normal day going out fishing for fun?
Ooh, I don't know. We yell and scream quite a bit on either way.
Yeah, I don't think much changes for us because typically if it's not a tournament, we're out there trying to better ourselves for tournament fishing.
Yeah, that.
So I don't think a lot changes for us because, like I said, if it's not tournament day, we're practicing for tournament day.
Or getting ready, going bait fishing. You know.
So that's another thing about us. We try not to buy anything. So we catch and pen up all our own baits. I have a dock up in Jupiter that we have a few pens at, so we keep all the bait penned up there. We make all our own rigs. So we're just buying the terminal tackle and the hardware and assembling everything ourselves. So, I mean, all week long, especially, John's a lot better at it than I am. John always asks me for months before a tournament and weeks before a tournament, how your rigs coming? And I just say, yeah, they're coming. And then usually it's the day before and the morning of. It's just a marathon for me to tie them all up and get them done. But we've never ran out, so I'm doing okay.
Do you guys want to share anything about like the kind of rigs that you guys are doing?
Pretty standard. Sometimes we're doing titanium. Sometimes we're doing wire. We're definitely, just always a stinger hook on there. That way you got that extra hook there for if they miss the front hook. Really, it's nothing fancy. I mean, it really kind of boils down to less is more. It really does. I mean, these fish are smart. They see things very easily. So whatever you can get away with as small as tackle as you can without it breaking or losing the fish, that's kind of what we do.
Yeah, it's the game. So depending on the days, depending on what kind of tackle you're going to be running.
Yeah, and there's times, I've got different tackle for different conditions. Obviously you can get away if the water's dirty or rougher or something like that. If it's clear water, flat calm seas, sometimes you got to get creative, and that's one of the things. You can't be afraid to change things up a little bit on things like that, but you got to be careful because if we've gone too light and then you get that big fish and it doesn't hold it, so you don't want that situation either.
Yeah, it's very important to have a variety of tackle on the boat and different types of rigs, just because if something's not working, you got to try something else.
Yeah.
So, sometimes as simple as changing from fluorocarbon to mono drives the hit a little better at times. Who knows why? But it's definitely good to have a variety of rigs on the boat to change. If something's not working, try something else.
Yeah, I live and die by that too. It's important.
I mean, I kind of go back to trolling for dolphin with skirts and stuff. You're out there all day, you're not catching nothing. You change the color of a skirt, and all of a sudden you start catching them. You keep that color on, and you're still catching them.
At a tough loss last year, we had a big wahoo on, and we had mono and titanium off the kite. And it's a bit of a luck, if a toothy one hits the titanium versus the mono. Big wahoo hits titanium, and I'm like, yes, it's hit the right hook for us. We're in good shape here. Bit through the titanium, and it was just so deflated because I didn't realize that happens. And I've talked to more anglers about it, and they'll say some of those big wahoo will bite through that titanium. And the unfortunate thing is you try to go heavier, you don't get that bite. Do you guys have any thoughts on that?
Yeah, no, I mean, we've done experiments on lightening tackle up, and you'll find it. You'll get that feel to where it's like this isn't working, because you're getting all of a sudden 15, 20-pound fish, and then you're getting cutoffs, and that those fish that are cutting them off are bigger fish. And then you bump up to the next size that you have, and you're bringing in the fish. So I think one time we started experimenting with, some of the real thin, just stainless steel, 58 pounds, and we were getting more hits, but we were losing fish over 30 pounds. We couldn't get them in. They just kept breaking them. And it was like, well,
what's the point?
You get the fish to hit, but you can't bring it in.
Yeah. And we're
You know?
tournament fishing. We need the big fish. We're not trying to fill the fish box for
Right.
dinner tonight.
But I mean, that can get you on the other side too if they're real lockjaw that day. You know, you gotta. It's a balancing act, you know. And if you do lighten your tackle, you gotta lighten your drag, because if not, you're gonna pop it real quick. And usually it's at the initial hit. It's right when they first hit it is when you're gonna pop it.
Yeah, agreed. Those are the hard decisions, and it is harder when you're two guys and something you want to re-rig half of the rods you guys already have out there.
Yeah. Well, we're lucky because when we do it, we do organize it. We've come a good rhythm with it where we put them all in Ziploc bags, and we've got everything labeled in different bags and different setups. And he's got certain bag for certain rigs. I have certain bags for other rigs. So that helps out a lot, obviously preparing beforehand, not doing it on the boat.
Yeah, I know all of us are spending like the 2 days before, like sitting here tying them up. How many do you guys take out for a tournament day? Like how many preset, whether it's drifting or
I'm afraid to
kite
answer
rigs?
this because I don't want him to stop making rigs. I'll let you answer first. I would actually hear this. What's the truth?
With a minimum of 24 goggle eye rigs, a minimum of 12 blue runner rigs, and then I have an assortment of other stuff. So again, we've never ran out.
And for you, the difference between goggle eye and blue runner is like one extra stinger on the back with an extra treble?
Yes.
Okay.
And even a size of a hook as well.
Yeah. Right. But sometimes those blue runners aren't always that big, so
right.
you know they just need a little bit more space on there, so it's got more room to swim better. So we do have different sizes, and like on the bags, it's like double stinger, large, medium, small. Or if you got sardines or whatever, that's a whole different rig. So it's like every single bait you got, you almost have to have a setup of rigs for them.
Yeah, and even when it's just two of us, we're out there. We probably have 15 rods on the boat. So we have a rod ready at all times. As soon as we get a hit or we catch a fish, we're immediately tying another rig so that rod's ready to go.
Yeah, he's either driving the boat tying, or I'm sitting there getting the lines out. Obviously, the most important thing is you want the lines in the water to get another hit. So once that's set up, then we're tying the rigs
preparing for the next thing. Okay. Yeah. And then so 15 rods on the boat total. How many are in the water fishing for you guys on tournament day?
That's a good question, and it depends. It really depends.
All depends on the conditions.
Right, whether you're drifting or you're flying kite plus flat lines. Let's talk about this tournament day specifically. What was your guys'?
Typically, if it's just the two of us, the most we're fishing is 5.
But on this tournament, it was pretty chunky out there, and we made the decision not to even experiment with trolling that day because of the conditions. It was just not ideal for trolling. It was going to be a mess. And we fished the kite, so we had 3 on there, and then we had 2 flat lines, so we had 5 lines out.
Do you guys do like one on top for your flat lines and one lower in the water column, or just both were on top for your flat lines?
It depends on the bite. So like that bite specifically, we were getting a lot of action on the top, so we were targeting the top water columns. But then when things slowed down, we also put stuff down at the bottom. So you just got to be paying attention is my advice to anyone, that is just pay attention where the bite's at, because those fish are going to be together. They're schooling fish.
Right.
So if the bite's at the top, at the surface, then that's where you want to target on. But don't be afraid to change it up either, because that might, you might be catching small fish at the top, and that big one that logs at the bottom there's just staring up. So it just depends. You gotta be paying attention while you're not just bringing fish. You got to be paying attention to your surroundings and the conditions and everything going on.
Yeah, and when you're catching them, it's great. Just keep doing that thing. But when you're not, to your point, Jim, you gotta change it up.
Yeah.
Okay, so and you guys caught your own bait for the tournament. You guys went out with a combination of goggle eyes and blue runners.
Yep, goggle eyes and blue runners, all live bait. No sardines that day. It was just goggle eyes and blue runners.
And I won't spoil it for these guys, but for me and a few other captains that I talked to out there, we had a slower day. You guys obviously won the tournament. How was the bite for you guys kind of from start to finish?
The bite for us was actually pretty good in the morning. We caught a variety of fish. We caught kingfish. We caught dolphin. We caught the wahoo that won the tournament. We had consistent action for most of the morning. And even in the other guys we were talking to, nobody was doing much. And we actually made a decision the morning of the tournament where we were going to fish. So we decided to go against where everybody else was going.
I'm going to cut you off for a second. You decided like early in the morning, or you decided as you went out there and saw the conditions, you were going to pick this spot based on what you saw out there?
It was in the morning leaving the boat ramp. We discussed what we were going to do, and we both made a decision to go in opposite direction of where most people were going to go and where we would typically go. And it paid off.
Yeah. Okay.
We were by ourselves all day, so there was no pressure on the area we were fishing. So, and again, it worked out. And, you know, what we did is we really just looked historically of where we know the fish are this time of year, where we've caught fish in other years in that time of year. And again, it paid for us on this particular tournament.
Certainly did. Can we talk now about the winning fish? So I'll put a picture up of this beautiful wahoo that they caught that won the tournament. But if you can kind of walk me through kind of where you guys were in the day, how confident you were, how you were feeling about how things were going to when that bite hit and how the whole thing unfolded.
Let John take this one because he's the one that caught the fish.
Yeah. When you're offshore fishing, we all catch every fish and we all lose every fish, right? Someone's got to drive the boat and do everything else. Except Jim. On my boat, we all lose the fish together.
So on that particular day, most of our action was on the kite. I think probably all the fish were on the kite, right? I don't think
Every fish that we put in the boat was on the kite. And we lost a couple on the flat.
Yeah. So you did get a couple. You and Steele got a couple. So that particular day, our spread was I was kite fishing in the bow. Him and Steele were in the back, flatlining, and then they were going back and forth for putting one down deep or not putting one down deep or both on top or whatever. And the bite was pretty good in the morning. I mean, we were catching fish. The problem was we weren't catching big fish, though, you know. And that, as an angler and as a tournament angler, that's your hardest decision. Do you leave fish to find fish, or do you stick out where you're at to find a bigger fish? And that's the hardest question you're going to ask yourself. And
the question gets harder when you don't catch a bigger fish.
Right. So, I mean, we were catching little kingfish, 6-pounders. We had some, jumping up, and I don't even know if the gog was as big as them. And, it was just like, man, these are really small fish. And we decided to just stick it out, though. We just, our gut told us stay here, keep working the area. We had reports that people up north weren't doing that good. So it was like, you know what, let's just stay in the area. So we grinded it out. I mean, we were catching we got a lot of hits. We were going through a lot of baits. We ended up getting, first thing in the morning, 2 dolphin on the boat, one after another, both on the kites. 3 dolphins on the boat. Our biggest one was only 7 pounds, though. So we had 3 dolphins on the boat first thing in the morning, and we were getting all these little kingfish, and it was like, man, what do we do? Time's ticking by. Kind of went from a bite in the morning to slowing down, and then all of a sudden, we were going in and out of depths and trying to find different areas, and kind of stuck on the outer depth there, about 110 foot of water.
Yeah, I mean, the bite just, if I got any deeper than 110, 112, they weren't biting. Every time we got into that 112 to 110, the rods were going off. And that, like I said, for a few hours in the morning.
So basically, he kind of, that's one thing Jim's really good at. He just finds where the fish are at and holding them, and he got it, and he targeted an area where we were getting the fish. And so it ended up happening mid-morning, closer to afternoon, and right on the kite there, I saw a monster boil. And Steele, his son, was there. He says, "Did you see that?" I said, "Did you see that? That thing was huge." And it hit. It was on a blue runner. It hit a blue runner on my long kite, and I thought we missed it at first. And I actually let everything sit there. It didn't pop the clipper off him. And I'm looking at Jim's over there yelling and screaming, "You missed it! You missed it! You missed the fish! There you go! You missed the fish! There you go!" And I'm over there yelling at him, "Jim, shut up! I didn't miss the fish. The bait's still there. You can see it twitching." "No, you missed it." Sure enough, man. The next thing you know, it's your second boil. And man, the first boil I thought was big. The second was even bigger. And that fish just slam dunked it. I mean, just slam dunked that blue runner, and just all of a sudden that rod just takes off, man. It's screaming. And Steele's over there sawing. He goes, "That's a huge fish." And Jim didn't see it. And all of a sudden I said, "We got to pick up. We got to chase this thing." And man, I'm glad we chased it. I mean, it was screaming line. I almost got spooled on it. We get all the lines in. We start chasing it. We were fighting it for about a good solid 25, 30 minutes. Yep. And I didn't see it was a wahoo at first, but I saw the silver. I said, "It's long and silver, long and silver." And next thing you know, it made that turn, and I saw the stripes. I said, "It's a wahoo, it's a wahoo. Get the second gaff. It's a big one." And Steele grabs the second gaff. He gets the first gaff. He gaffs it, sticks it, and then Steele sticks it in the tail, and we get it in. And the rest is history, man. 43-pound wahoo on the boat.
Amazing fish and a great story. For me, if I'm catching a wahoo in a 100 to 110, or any fish, or 100, 110 with that kind of a run, my thoughts are going to be it's going to be a kingfish. Was it in green water or blue water at that point?
It was blue. It was blue water.
Okay.
Yeah, the water
we had
was
the
pretty
wind
clear.
with the wind blowing the current blue water, and kind of all week that week. I remember.
And we had lost a good king hit right before that, probably 15, 20 minutes before that, that got sliced off. So, I wasn't convinced it was a wahoo till we saw it.
The stripe show. That's a terrible feeling to go from that, where you feel like that was the fish that was going to put you potentially in the hunt, to losing it. Everyone's feeling down, and then that happens. You get a 40+ pound wahoo.
Oh yeah, I heard all the yawning and screaming.
So you guys, that was still, you said late morning. You guys got the wahoo.
About midday.
Midday.
Yeah, it was closer to midday.
You're pretty confident at that point you had it wrapped up based on what you had heard from other people, or you guys were still fishing hard, thinking someone's got a bigger one?
Yeah.
We fished until lines out, right to the minute. Honestly, thought the fish was 38 to 40 pounds, and we knew there were some bigger kingfish that were caught up north. Not many, but we knew of fish in the 30s that were caught. So we had to grind out all day looking for something bigger.
Yeah, and then the other thing is, in that tournament we had the Calcuttas and the kingfish, so we were really trying hard to get a
Clean
solid
up,
kingfish.
yeah.
And then they also, because of the single engine, we were able to get the kingfish single engine, but it had to be a 10-pound minimum. And none of our kings on the boat were 10, so that was the biggest thing. I was like, man, we got to try to get some more kings, or at least get a 10-pounder. And we snuck that right
10
at the
pounds, 2 ounces.
we snuck that right at the end of the
And
day.
we won single engine.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
So we won the tournament with the big fish, and then we won single engine kingfish.
With that 10-pound, 2-ouncer.
10.2 pounds.
Yeah, I was also struggling to find a 10-pound kingfish, and being by myself, it was the terrible decision of do I throw this back, because I'm guessing it's 8 pounds, and try to keep a slot for 2 bigger ones, but I wound up keeping it, and I didn't find anything over 10 pounds anyways, like you guys did. How many fish total did you guys bring in that were over 10 pounds?
So we had the one kingfish and the wahoo. It was really the only one
That was it, over 10.
But it was cool because that day the dolphins weren't 10, but it were legal, and it still was a KDW for the day, which was pretty cool milestone to catch a KDW
Yeah,
today, especially in a tournament. So
it's a great slam.
yeah, it was. You don't do that often, and that was a pretty remarkable thing.
And you guys, when you guys were catching the Mahi, was that still in the same depth, or that was out deeper?
Same depth.
Yeah.
And it's nice when they're all stacked in the same depth, right?
Yeah. No, they were, like you said. Once you got past that threshold, it was like the bite just shut off. So we found them and stuck with it.
All right, so I think we covered a lot of the tournament. Congratulations again. You guys had a great day overall. This was in stark contrast to a lot of what I heard from other captains out there, including some pretty good fishing teams that got skunked for the day. So you guys had really a very different day than a lot of us had out there. So well done.
Thank you.
What kind of equipment keeps you guys successful out there? Not just tournament days, but kind of all your fishing days.
I got to tell you, we've got some top-notch equipment. We got very fortunate with, first off, our Simmerad machine. I mean, it's the best on the market. I got to tell you, there's times where he said, hey, raise that downrigger up, 70 foot, and get to 71, and that thing just takes off and got hit by a fish. So, I mean, stuff like that is just so accurate. It's amazing. Blue Water Boats, can't thank them enough for getting on this journey with us. We were very fortunate to find Paul Skilowitz when he was alive, and it's a very sentimental boat to us because this was the last custom boat he ever built prior to him passing. He didn't get to see it finished, but he literally finished all the custom part of it, was real excited about it, and then passed away on that Sunday, unfortunately. But the Blue Water team finished the boat up, and they did a phenomenal job. We've got top equipment in there. Our live well system is phenomenal. They went above and beyond to make, as Paul would have said, to shove 35 feet into a 23-foot boat.
Yep.
And they did it.
You're beating boats twice your size because you've crammed everything you need to in that form factor, and it's working. I mean, it's really fun to hear you guys doing this well on that size of boat.
Mercury Marine, we are just beyond thrilled with that motor. I mean, that's by hands down the best motor in the market.
The torque of the V8 is second to none, and hands down the whole shot out of the hole. There's no other 300 horsepower motor that could do what that Mercury
And that
does.
was the biggest thing for us is, you know, getting out of the hole, because we're in rough conditions. If it's blowing, we're going. I mean, if that tournament's not canceled, we're fishing.
Sending it.
And we fish very heavy. We're fishing about 6,800 pounds.
Yeah, single engine, still cruising 25, 30 mile an hour.
I like them because they're quiet. My last boat had Yamahas, and they were fine. The first time I went to go start the Mercuries, they were already on. It just couldn't even hear them. And I film everything, so it's nice to not have the engine being the primary source of audio in all the videos.
Yeah.
And they've been super reliable.
Super efficient on fuel, super reliable. Like I said, there's no other motor you would even need to consider. And our biggest thing is, because we do the tournament trails, we're on the road a lot. I mean, we're fishing from Pompano to Fort Pierce. We wanted the best trailer on the market, and we got it. Loadmaster Trailers. They are the best trailer out there. But yeah, we're very fortunate. We got top-notch gear, and our sponsors have made this happen for us.
Everything you described about this boat is absolutely amazing. It's like NASA-level engineering to get everything you guys wanted to on that, powered by great Mercury engine. You guys use Seymour maps in your Sturmad units?
We do, yeah. We use Seymour maps, and that's definitely, if I can give one piece of advice for anyone new to fish in the area, definitely spend the money. It just makes things a lot easier just to track and to find, and it's definitely worth it.
Yeah, I had the same experience, and I was told the same thing by somebody. It was like, just go get Seymour, I'll put it into a Sturmad unit, you're going to be happy. But the boat came with some Garmin stuff, so I tried that, and it was helpful with the relief shading that they offer. But then when I actually got a Sturmad unit, and I just got the little external one, but powered by Seymour Maps, the visibility is absolutely, it is a total game changer.
Garmin's a great machine, and I would never badmouth them at all. But when it comes down to the Seymour Maps, and you can't get it in Garmin, and Garmin has their own topography map, it's not nearly as detailed as the Seymour Maps is.
Yeah, we've been thrilled so far since we've converted over there. It was maybe like 6 months ago now.
I mean, like John said earlier, there's often times where I'm working with Seymour Maps and the depth finder in conjunction, and I'll say, drop the downrigger down to 90. You know, I'm coming right up to a ledge. I can see the fish are there. No sooner than he stops that downrigger, that rod's off.
Yeah, we use it for fishing and for diving, and it's been a game changer for us. No more guessing.
Gets you right on it too.
Yeah, it's
not even a
pinpoint
question.
accuracy. So that was a good tip for people that are new. Do you have any other tips for a lot of our viewers that are trying to get better at offshore fishing? And this is an inspiring story. We would all love to see all of us in a 23-foot boat winning tournaments. Do you have some advice for people that are still kind of early stages?
Yeah, I do. Just keep fishing, keep experimenting. Less is more. Don't overcomplicate things. If you can get away with 2 rods, 3 rods without getting tangles, you're better off than putting 10 lines out.
Yeah.
You don't want to be tangling. You want your baits to always look good. You always want, whether you're bottom fishing, you're trolling, whatever you're doing. The bottom line is you have to look at it and see the presentation. It's all about the presentation, right, Jim? And if the presentation's not there, I don't care how many fish are there, they're not going to hit it. So just make sure what you're doing, it's not spinning down, baits are swimming natural. They're going to hit what looks natural to them. And get away with as light as tackles you can, but not too light to where you can't bring the fish in. And get friends that fish in the community and talk to each other and get tips on it, because we do that. We got a group of guys that we still talk to this day. You try new things out. Hey, fisher, I got hit here. There's fish here. You communicate, and it's all about networking and talking with each other.
Don't be scared of change. If something's not working, try something else.
Appreciate you saying that, Jim. And it can be a little intimidating starting, from ground zero, learning to be an offshore angler, and somebody winning tournaments you think might be unapproachable. Like, these have been the nicest guys, the most generous with their time and with their knowledge. Like, it's been a absolute treat to have you guys over and talk through this stuff this evening. So don't be afraid to reach out to people, right, and talk to other anglers. I think the overall angler community is really nice. You're going to meet some jerks no matter what you're doing, but overall I do feel like our community here in South Florida is full of great human beings who share a passion for fishing. So, yeah, this has been great. I want to shake your hands and say congratulations
Thank you
again.
very
Thank
much.
you so much for coming over and doing this tonight. Can't wait to see you guys in tournaments next year and continue the success. And now that I have your phone numbers, I'm going to be out there on the water texting you guys like, what are you guys doing today? What are you guys seeing?
We're out there almost every weekend.
That's fine.
Anytime.
Yeah.
Chasing Silver takes home overall tournament winner, heaviest wahoo, and single engine. Thank you to Trey West and the Big Dog Tackle team for another great tournament. Thanks for watching. Tight lines.